From playing supporting roles in shows like Pretty Little Liars to finally gaining recognition for her role in HBO's Euphoria, Sydney Sweeney has come a long way in terms of her acting career. And now, rumors suggest that she'll be playing Marvel's Spider-Woman in Madam Web. Yes, that's right, Sydney is all set to play the iconic role of Julia Carpenter. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with tons of comic book lore that Marvel movies take inspiration from, Julia Carpenter might just be a very new name. But for those of you who are longtime residents of Earth 616 and proudly identify as hardcore comic book dweebs, this name shouldn't come off as foreign. But to help our non-nerdy friends out a bit, let's start with a little context of the character. Spawned by the famous writers Jim Shooter and Mike Zeck, Julia Carpenter first entered the Marvel Universe in 1984's Marvel's Secret Wars #6, and since then, she has been shooting cobwebs over the hearts of all her fans. She literally has them all hooked. Her character was actually the second in continuity Spider-Woman after the original Madam Web. Marvel's upcoming movie, Madam Web, which is directed by S.J. Clarkson and produced by Sony, is all set to finally bring this comic book character to life. And the actor that they've chosen for her is one that we're all very familiar with. It's none other than the rising actress Miss Sweeney. But if you're wondering where I'm getting all this information from, especially since Marvel has chosen to stay very hush-hush about this project, then you'll feel safe knowing that it's from a very reliable source. Jeff Snyder confirmed the news in a recent interview. When a senior film reporter and critic comes before the public and makes an announcement, there's a high chance that the information is trustworthy, mostly because spreading misinformation of this scale can potentially cost him his reputation. Jeff Snyder of the Hot Mic podcast revealed this information in a recent interview. So mark your calendars for February 16th, 2024, because with the production having been wrapped up this January, the film is all set to hit the big screen next year. And for those of you who aren't as thrilled to hear the news as much as I am, I'll tell you why Julia makes for such an interesting character. Say whatever you want about Julia Carpenter and her very complex personality. The one thing you absolutely can't deny is that this woman is an absolute bad ASS.
Special armor components he took. We'll know where he went. I need your hex power to convince Hall Security I'm one of the good guys.
Control, shift. Jim, it's party time.
Whirlwind, blizzard, stop her!
Sorry, dorks, I'm not in the mood for whip and chill.
She not only has the ability to shoot webs, but apparently Carpenter also possesses telepathic and psychic powers. And this is on top of her superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and insane reflexes. Oh, and did I mention that at one point in the comics, she was literally besties with Iron Man? The pair teamed up to fight their common enemy, the Seekers, a group of tech bounty hunters who were trying to kill Julia. So she clearly has a few powerful friends in the Marvel Universe. And if that's not all, Julia's compelling backstory only adds to her character. Did you know that she's also a mother? And the bane of her existence is attempting to find a balance between motherhood and her superhero life. And to think that all her troubles happened because she put faith in the wrong people. Careful who you trust, Julia. But the story goes that she gets tricked into being a part of an experiment in which she's injected with a mix of spider venom and exotic plant extracts. The venom gives her superpowers very similar to that of Spider-Man. Do you see what I mean when I say this is a character who needs a movie of her own? And looks like she's finally set to make her debut. But what makes it even more interesting is the actress who was chosen to play the role. It's time to talk about why Sydney is the perfect choice for the role. Whether you love her or hate her, you can't deny that she's a brilliant actress.
I am in love with Nate Jacobs and he is in love with me, and you know you give me that look, Maddie, because I didn't your boyfriend. You two were broken up for 3 weeks and 3 days before we even had so I didn't betray you. Plus, you guys are terrible for each other, and you know I'm right, and you guys can all judge me if you want, but I do not care. I have never, ever been.
Not everyone has the ability to convince viewers that they're actually insane, the same way that Cassie Howard of Euphoria has. The 25-year-old actress put so much life into her character that she had the internet split in half. While some people sympathize with Cassie's mental health crisis, others spew hate on her for all her toxic traits. It's clear that her impeccable acting skills have caught the world's attention, and she's become quite well known. In fact, her recent popularity has made her a fan favorite for a lot of directors too. She was recently cast in an Apple original movie alongside Julianne Moore.
My poor husband can't leave out a cup of coffee because I'll be like, he's done with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know. And he's like, all right, we've talked about this.
The film, titled Echo Valley, is directed by Michael Pierce, and Sydney is all set to play Julianne's daughter in it. Also, I can't forget about her previous performances in shows like Everything Sucks, and even White Lotus have received critical acclaim. She already has 2 Emmy nominations to her name.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. I wish Alexa was here so that she could thank the amazing fans that we have, because you all are so incredible. But I have to be honest, Maddie might have gotten the last punch, but Cassie has never ever been happier.
And even an award for the best fight. This one was very well earned. None of us have forgotten the iconic catfight between Maddie and Cassie. Can you see why I think she's perfect for the role? But Madam Web isn't just banking on Sydney's fame alone. A lot of very prominent actors have joined the cast of the film. Sweeney isn't the only starlet to have been cast in the film. This film is actually centered around the original Madam Web, the one who took the mantle way before Julia Carpenter stepped into the role. And the actress who was chosen to play this role is someone we're all too familiar with. Any guesses? This actress is pretty well known for her infamous lip bite. Yes, folks, it's none other than the 50 Shades of Grey actress Dakota Johnson.
Well, sometimes people just say things that are a little bit awkward for me. Like, I was in a cab recently, and the driver was like, you know, my wife and I, we saw you film. And I was like, oh, that's great, thanks. He's like, we really liked it.
Yikes! Dakota and Sydney on screen together? Can it get hotter than this? Turns out it can. Emma Roberts is also part of the main cast for the film, but she recently revealed in an interview that her role is a tad different. While Sydney and Dakota are all set to get into superhero suits, Emma won't be seen playing one. The actress recently spilled some tea about her character in the Shut Up Evan podcast, but that's the only thing known about Emma's involvement so far. Other influential actors who have joined the cast include Adam Scott and Isabella Merced, but there aren't enough details about their characters, so I can't comment further on their roles. And I can't even say for sure how much of the original plotline the film would preserve, but I can only wait and hope to see something spectacular. And that's what the cast has promised. Dakota Johnson remembers the shooting of the film as a wild experience. She's essentially the main star of the film. The upcoming superhero movie is actually the origin story of the original Madam Web and her psychic ability to look into the spider world. Jumping from romance straight into action thriller isn't always the easiest transition, and that's why Dakota was thrilled. Can you see how this is a character very different from the sorts of characters Dakota has played in the past? She described the whole thing as wild and went on to say that she learned a whole lot. She also mentioned that this kind of cinema is something that's entirely different from anything she's experienced prior to this. In her own words, nothing could have prepared her for something this grand. I wonder if Sydney feels the same way. So far, all I know is that she's all set to play Spider-Woman alongside Dakota Johnson. Well, that was all you needed to know about Sydney playing Spider-Woman in Madam Web.